What's up everybody, China Cycling here again with a trainer that's a bit different that I'm sure most of you have never seen before. It's the Tempo trainer from Magene. And it's got a trick up its sleeve that as far as I know, no other trainer can do. So, headline stats. 1. It's a wheel-on trainer, meaning you don't have to take your rear wheel off. But unlike most wheel-on trainers, it's almost silent. I know, you don't believe me, but I'll show you later. 2. It's a budget trainer, so it retails in China for 1,999 RMB, which is less than 300 US dollars, or around 220 British pounds, which is like half the price of the equivalent kicker snap. 3. It features a maximum of 1500 watts of resistance, or it can simulate a 13% climb, so in line with other wheel-on trainers like the Snap. 4. It's accurate to within 5%, so not as accurate as a direct drive trainer like the Gravat, but that's because there are so many more variables thrown into the mix when you have a tire spinning on a roller. 5. There's full ANT Plus and Bluetooth support, so it's compatible with ZWIFT, Trainer Road, Superfast, etc., including all of their ERG workout modes. 6. Finally, the party trick I was talking about. You can use this when it's not plugged into the mains. You can power it using a portable USB battery bank, the kind you use to charge your phone when you're on the go. So you could totally do your favorite ZWIFT ERG workout before a race, like in the middle of a car park. What? Also, this channel has now kind of gone full circle. The original review of the first gen Grabbit trainer from Magene was the video that started this channel, and now I'm back with another Magene trainer. But that's also no coincidence. After I put my original video on YouTube, the folks at Magene noticed and got in touch. They invited me to come to their offices here in Qingdao, China, and so that's where I went to shoot this video. But they're not paying me to make this video. I'm here to see what they're working on and also offer them some advice about what Western consumers want from a trainer and so on. I'm also free to say whatever I want in my videos. I know you guys are smart. I'm not here to feed you advertisements. I try to keep my videos to the facts and let you guys form your own opinions. With that said, let me show you this. So, as I said in the intro, this is a wheel-on smart trainer. So attached to the main frame of the trainer is the roller resistance unit. Attaching the bike to the frame is simple. You don't even need to use specialist skewers, although Magene does provide them and recommends you use them. I used my standard skewers on my bike and it worked fine. And so with the bike attached to the frame, you adjust the roller resistance unit to the point where it's compressing the tire a little bit. If you leave the roller too loose, you're going to get wheel slip when you try to accelerate quickly. If you do the roller too tight, you're going to be making extra noise and putting extra wear on your tires. And of course, you're already thinking, I bet that affects the power accuracy too. And you're right. Roller-based wheel-on trainers are going to generate heat. That heat is going to affect your tire pressure, and your tire pressure is going to affect the resistance measured at the roller. That's why there's a function that Magene call hot tire calibration. Basically, ride on the trainer for 10 minutes, maybe do your warm-up, and then everything else get warmed up too. And then in the phone app, just select the calibration option. The app will prompt you to accelerate to a certain wheel speed, and then tell you to let the wheel coast. By measuring how long it takes the wheel to decelerate between two preset wheel speeds, they can measure how much resistance your tire and roller interface is adding to the system. and then use that to calculate the power that you're putting out. How accurate is that? Well, Magene claim a 5% accuracy. If you're the skeptical kind, you can check the charts on their site. They have some comparisons with SRM crank-based power meters and so on. Also, they have a very good record of living up to their claims. When DC Rainmaker tested the Gravit 2 on his site, he was pretty shocked by just how accurate and responsive the Gravit 2 was at measuring power. The Tempo is using very similar technology, but in a wheel-on setup. I was visiting their offices in Qingdao, so didn't have my full setup for testing, but I set the trainer to 100 watts of targeted resistance via the app, and then the numbers on my Garmin head unit, which were coming from my Garmin Vector pedal-based power meter, were matching up well.
And in case you're wondering, we can put the target power up to 1,000 watts. In which case, my legs just grind to a halt.
The actual resistance unit housing the electromagnets is pretty small. You'd be forgiven for thinking it can't offer any serious resistance, but it can offer 1,500 watts of resistance. That's the equivalent of a 13% climb if you weigh 70 kilos. Again, not as impressive numbers as some of the bigger direct drive trainers, but this is a budget trainer that's trying to get power-based training and virtual riding to the masses. How about sound? When the original Gravit debuted way back in 2016, it shocked people with how quiet it was. In my original video, I compared the first generation Gravit to the second generation Kicker, and the Gravit was measurably quieter. Some of this is down to the Gravit's use of a V-shaped serpentine belt, something that Wahoo have now actually started copying on their latest Kicker. And I don't want to go off on a tangent, but it's fairly amusing to me that the general opinion is that these Chinese companies are copying the Western brands. Yet there are multiple examples of the Chinese firms doing things first. Anyway, no tangents. The sound. Is it silent? No. There's more sound than its direct drive big brother, the Gravit. But for a wheel-on trainer, it is super quiet. Because the electromagnets are so buff, you can put the bike in an easy gear, so the wheel speed is relatively low, but still get hunks of resistance from the unit. In other words, for a workout, just use ERG mode, switch to the easiest gear, pick any cadence you like, and let the software do the rest.
I'll get in the actual easiest gear. There we go. I have a 32 on the back. So I'm in the easiest gear on the bike to keep the wheel speed as slow as possible, to make as little noise as possible. But it's still providing enough feedback, enough resistance to do the 137 watts that I'm supposed to do. So again, I'm in the same gear as before, doing the same cadence as before. So the wheel sound hasn't changed, because the electromagnets have pumped themselves up. I'm now doing 185 watts, as you can tell from my breathing. So again, a great way to keep the noise down on a wheel-on trainer.
Even when you switch to the big ring and get the rear wheel speed up, go about halfway down the cassette at the back, the noise of your chain is still louder than the tire. It's only when you start spinning super fast in the really tall gears that the whine of the tire starts to become loud. For most situations, I definitely think you could use this in the room next door to a sleeping baby and wouldn't have to worry about waking them up. I was talking earlier about firsts, and I'm fairly sure this is a first too. Or if it's not, I'm sure someone in the comments will correct me. But my favorite feature of the Tempo is the ability to power it with a USB power bank. Essentially, any 2 amp USB power bank can power this thing with enough resistance to do most of your workouts. No, it doesn't quite have the same high levels of resistance that it does when it's plugged into the wall, but it's still decent. You just may have to use a higher gear to get the same levels of resistance, but if you're using the unit outside for a pre-race warm-up, I don't think the sound of the higher gear is going to be an issue. Also, with a standard-sized 20,000 milliamp hour capacity power bank, it's enough to power it for around 4 hours. And they figure that out with riding at 30k an hour with 300 watts of resistance. So 4 hours riding time, enough for most races or workouts I can think of. I was indoors the whole time I was testing, but with an iPad running ZWIFT as well, the experience was great, and I could have been anywhere in the world. Make a Wi-Fi hotspot on your phone for your iPad to use, and you can ZWIFT from anywhere you like. As the unit has ANT Plus and Bluetooth, there are so many apps and programs that can control it. Windows, Mac, Apple TV, Android, iOS, most people will have a portable device that can control this thing. Meaning, on race day, you throw the trainer in the back of the car, and you do your warm-up in the car park and know you're getting the perfect warm-up. If you think the 5% accuracy isn't high enough for your perfect warm-up, you can use your bike's own power meter for power readings and let the trainer just handle the resistance. In terms of connectivity, as I mentioned, the trainer has Bluetooth Smart and ANT Plus. Magene are usually really good at the software stuff, and this is no exception. The phone app is always quick to connect and has zero bloatware. You could argue the phone app, the UI is a bit ugly, but it does the job. Connecting to ZWIFT via ANT Plus or Bluetooth always worked fine, which is just what you want. So, is this the greatest smart trainer in the world? No, but it's not trying to be. It's a budget trainer that's aimed at getting the mainstream Chinese market into power training and virtual riding. As this promo video shows, it's about a cheap and practical way for people to be able to do a workout, and I think that's reflected in many of the design features. The price, the volume, how small it folds away, how easy it is to put the bike on and off it, and even the small features like how you don't need to change your QR skewer every time. Magene also have a software division with things like OneLap, which is basically a Chinese ZWIFT but with velodrome racing and stuff. And OneLap Training Manager, kind of like Strava's training features mixed with Golden Cheetah or Training Peaks analysis tools. Anyway, they're really on their way to building their own ecosystem that's empowering Chinese riders to start training smarter. And the company's growing so fast. Like, I can see someone being interviewed in that room over there, someone's being interviewed there, someone's being interviewed over there, someone's waiting for an interview there. So they're really growing, they're really expanding, new products, new staff. While I was at their offices, they were working on their own crank-based power meter. The amount of R&D and time and effort that goes into their product development is really impressive. I imagine it is for every company, but just a bunch of really passionate people trying really hard to change people's perceptions of what made in China means. At the time, the power meter was hush-hush, but it's since been announced. I've been giving it a testing for a few thousand kilometers now, and so far so good. There's going to be a full review of that coming soon, so subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the video. As an aside, there's been a whole bunch of new subscribers recently, so I'd like to say thank you guys for all the support. It really motivates me to keep making new content. If you have any questions about the tempo or anything else you'd like to see in the future, leave them in the comments below. China Cycling, out.